If you have decided to watch this video, there's a good chance you are at least somewhat familiar with this image. It's an incredibly popular image which has been going around the internet for decades now, and has since been dubbed as Creepy Ugly Guy. Many of you might have been jump scared by this image growing up, perhaps getting jump scared doing those fake IQ tests or those what's the matter with this picture things, where you look for what's the matter with the picture and a screamer image pops up. I remember being so scared of this image as a kid. Looking at it now it just looks funny, but it genuinely used to terrify me. I remember seeing this included on different websites and in different YouTube videos, notably that video called The Most Annoying Sound Ever. Every time I would see it in some video, it startled me and I just hated it. I also, of course, have been jump scared by this image at least a couple of times. The image is used everywhere. In a video game known as War Final Assault, it's even used as a little Easter egg, and can be seen when clipping the camera through the wall. I'm not the only one who believed this image was horrifying. When looking through forums and posts which mention this picture, a lot of internet users have grim memories revolving around this picture. It's a really iconic internet image. It's an image which has pretty much been present throughout my entire life, and I have always wondered what this thing actually is. So, after years of this image being a mystery to so many people on the internet, I think it's time we figure out what this image actually is. Back in the late 90s, there was a program known as Kai's Power Goo. With this program, users were able to make crazy edits to photos in all sorts of ridiculous ways. It was a program which during its time was actually really cool and unique. Within this program, there was a section called the Fusion Room. The Fusion Room allowed users to fuse together the different features of two different faces or objects. This was face swap before face swap. This was an insanely cool feature, and you were able to seamlessly create some of the most cursed stuff ever. And this is how the infamous image we all know, Creepy Ugly Guy, was created. This image, which has haunted so many people over the decades, was simply made using this program with these two stock photos that are included within Kai's Power Goo. I wasn't able to find the third image that was fused within this picture. It's obvious some monkey or chimpanzee was used. After doing some digging though, this looks to be the same chimpanzee used in the photo. It has the exact same teeth, but I can't find the particular photo. Now that's really cool. We know how this image was made and even have seen the images used to create it. Now what about its origin? This video is literally called Finding the Origins of Infamous Images. Where did this image first appear on the internet and where was it posted? This is the thing. No one really knows at all where this thing came from. The source is a mystery. The image is really old. Although this image can be found in popular videos from the 2000s, many people have stated they have memories seeing it within the late 90s. Early as 1996, which is the same year the Kai's Power Goo program had been released. A user first remembers seeing this image from a parody site or chain email, can't remember which, this was the early internet, during 1996 or 1997, called the Spice Girls, which parodied, obviously, the Spice Girls. This must have just been posted somewhere random, and with just how strange and weird the image is, was of course shared around the internet a bunch, being posted everywhere. I think it'll be very hard to track down the original source of this image and who was behind it, considering people literally remember seeing it all the way back in 1996. But at least we know how it was made and what images were used. These images. I'm sure you have seen them before. The crazy and disturbing looking Barney the dinosaur statue. There are 2 photos of this statue which have been going around the internet for years now. The Cha-Cha Real Smooth image and the Whomst Has Awakened the Ancient one. I remember being like 14 and thinking these images, memes, whatever you want to call them, were just hilarious. I just thought this was the weirdest stuff ever, and of course, for the longest time, I've always wondered what this actually is. Where was this statue? Why was it made? Why does it look like this? And does it still exist? So pretty much, this Barney sculpture, statue, whatever it is, comes from a children's park in Mariculture, Scotland, known as the Den and the Glen, formerly known as Storybook Glen. It's a children's park which contains various different sculptures of all sorts of characters from kids shows and fairy tales. So that's right, it isn't only Barney the dinosaur which looks messed up. This park contains the most cursed Bart and Lisa Simpson sculptures I've ever seen. They have Shrek, Teletubbies, Postman Pat, and so much more which just look insane. And yes, these sculptures, along with the infamous Barney the dinosaur, are still at this park today. So yeah, you can go visit this infamous statue right now if you live near the area. When it comes to the origins of these infamous images that exploded in popularity, when they first came to the internet, who posted it? The Cha-Cha Real Smooth one was first posted onto the internet in 2015, and comes from a Vice article titled, "I Try to Revisit My Youth and All I Got Was Sad," which talks about the park and the off-looking characters which exist in it. The Whomst Has Awakened the Ancient One image comes from a Reddit post from June 29th, 2018. It was posted onto the Cursed Images subreddit by user Flexiboot, which states, "Was sent to me from my significant other." This image and the one from 2015 would later have text added to it, and start to gain lots of popularity on the internet, becoming huge, well-known memes. And yeah, pretty cool. I legit have always wondered what this thing is, and now I have an answer. I know for a fact if I ever go to Scotland, I am 100% visiting the Barney the dinosaur sculpture. I need to see this thing in person. Michael Alone. This is an image showcasing what appears to be a bootleg McDonald's restaurant, which is for some reason called Michael Alone. This is a classic funny off-brand image, which has been plastered around the internet for years now, often brought into discussion when talking about strangely named ripoffs. I mean, this bootleg restaurant is pretty great. Michael Alone. Who is Michael? Why is he alone? Does Michael run this restaurant alone maybe? I also love how all they've done with the McDonald's logo is simply make it upside down, which makes it look like a W. Michael didn't really change much about it at all. The hilarious thing about this though is that at some point, when looking at more recent separate photos of this bootleg restaurant, Michael Alone has had its M&S title switched around to look like a W. I guess they must have just noticed their logo was a W, and so that it makes sense, I guess, decided to change Michael to a Wykel, which is in my opinion an even funnier name. Wykel Alone. I love the images which showcase this restaurant, and I just want to know more about it. What is Wykel Alone? Where is this restaurant? And does it still exist today? And where did these images of Michael and Wykel Alone come from? Let's try and solve all of these questions. When it comes to photographic evidence of this place, it's pretty obscure. Despite the amount of reposts these images have had, there's only just a few handful of different images that exist which display this infamous restaurant. First, let's start with this photo. I believe that this is the earliest photo on the internet of the Michael Alone restaurant. Reason I think this is because it says Michael instead of Wykel, like every other more recent photo does. This is the only photo on the internet which shows this restaurant having the M the right way up instead of it being upside down. This image has been reposted everywhere, and many reposts of this image have had their own different watermarks and tags. The image on the screen now is what I believe is to be the original first image. The reason I think this is because every other repost I came across is not as large as this one and looks to be cropped at the bottom slightly, cropping out specifically this watermark. Searching around, I just wasn't able to find this image without this watermark at the bottom, and when I did, it just was not the same size. The bottom was missing a bit, so it obviously had this watermark text cropped. The watermark link in this image belongs to Weibo, formerly known as Weibo Singer, which is a Chinese microblogging website launched back in 2009, often described as a Chinese version of Twitter. Typing this watermark from the image into the search bar brought me to this user on Weibo. Perhaps this user was the person to post the image, I don't know. So I'm just going to assume that the origin of this image comes from here. It was likely posted somewhere on this Weibo Singer website during the late 2000s and started spreading around the internet. Including the Michael Alone image discussed just before, there are only 6 different photos of this bootleg McDonald's which exist online, and 5 of these had originated from 4 different websites spanning from 2010 to 2012. Let's go through these websites. The earliest out of these 4 is the Just Charlie website. Since 2002, this site known as Just Charlie has been a personal website for Charlie, who has hosted a blog with over 1,000 posts, a list of podcasts nearing 100 episodes, and street photography from around the world. On December 21st, 2010, Charlie would make a post about this restaurant with the title reading, "Eat at WcDonalds," along with an image included. Captions at the bottom read, "Actually, it's called Michael Alone. I'm like it." Although this was posted onto his website, I don't think Charlie had taken this photo of Michael Alone. I mean, there's a chance Charlie did, but similar to the last photo, it has a Sina Weibo watermark in the corner, so it was probably taken from there. The link reads at the end Top Girls 8. I'm gonna guess that this is a username maybe? Maybe this was the person who posted it, I don't know. A couple months later, on February 8th, 2011, a photo of Michael Alone was posted onto Flickr by a person who goes by Benjamin. It's probably the highest quality image we have of the restaurant, and have a good view as to what it looks like inside. And I mean, it really doesn't look that bad. It looks great actually. I also love the blue Ronald McDonald out the front. They even have a ripped off mascot. And as well, notice the sign. Despite the store sign being Michael Alone, the little sign at the top still says Michael Alone. What's super interesting about this post on this website is that Benjamin included a location, Guangxi Province, China. Yes, it's not the exact location, but we know where it is now. On February 16th, 2011, a post was made onto a website known as Isidore's Fugue. This is a blog website run by a person who goes by Brian Glucroft, who makes posts about China, technology, user experience research and design, and more. In the post, he provided a bunch of photos capturing the scenes of Wuzhou Guangxi, and in the range of photos that were posted, a picture of Michael Alone can be seen, with a small caption under it reading, "At a pit stop on the way to Wuzhou with a semi-familiar restaurant." On May 31st, 2012, Brian would bring this photo up again in a blog, discussing the reasons to believe there is demand for McDonald's and KFC in China. Brian would as well include an additional never-before-seen photo. Brian also stated in the post that the Michael Alone was seen between Guangzhou and Wuzhou Guangxi. Apologies if I'm just pronouncing a bunch of these names wrong, apologies. On November 11th of 2011, a couple who go by Aoife and Vinny had made blog posts onto a website known as Travelblog. In their blog, they discussed their travels, and as well talked through their experience with the Michael Alone restaurant. On their blog, they wrote the following: The bus stopped at 1 AM for 30 minutes in what has to be the weirdest place I've ever been. It's basically a big rest stop for buses, with maybe 20 buses pulled up and hundreds of Chinese people everywhere. Could feel everyone staring at us as myself and Vinny were the only Westerners there. Apparently China are known for their fakes and this place was no exception. Right in the corner was a fake McDonald's with the famous logo turned upside down, so it was a W and was called Wycle Alone. Even had a blue Ronald McDonald outside. Now, these websites I just discussed. These were the only websites to provide new images and information on Wycle Alone. No new images have since been posted onto the internet beyond 2012. The only times Wycle Alone would be brought up again were reposts of these images. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find the exact location of this restaurant. I can't express how hard I looked. I searched everywhere. Looking at the post talking about it before, from what we have gathered, we know its location was at some sort of rest stop for buses, supposedly between Guangzhou and Wuzhou Guangxi. The thing is though, even if I knew the exact location of this Wycle Alone restaurant, I wouldn't have been able to check if it was still around. You can't do Google Street View in China. If I was able to, I would have put in the address on Google Maps, gone onto Google Street View, and legit searched everywhere to see if it was still around. Searching for a needle in a haystack type of deal. The same thing Nick Robinson did trying to look for the Microsoft Bimbos building. Something interesting I came across though was that if you type in Wycle Alone into Google Maps, a restaurant does come up. However, it isn't located in China but instead at a shopping mall in the Philippines located in General Santos. You're able to look inside the mall at the exact location of where this Wycle Alone restaurant is supposed to be. I don't see nothing, so I'm guessing this is some mistake perhaps? Maybe someone added this as a joke, I guess? Super strange stuff though that the obscure Wycle Alone restaurant has its own location on Google Maps but in a location completely different from where it's supposed to be. The fact that no new images of this Wycle Alone restaurant have appeared in the last decade pretty much leads me to believe that it has likely, unfortunately, shut down. I wonder if someone still has the blue Ronald McDonald stored away somewhere. I am almost certain most of you watching this have seen this image at least once over the last couple years. This image of the smoking caterpillar, also referred to as crater, has appeared everywhere the last few years, being used in lots of memes and becoming quite popular on TikTok. I remember I would draw this caterpillar at school in my books a couple years ago. Fun times. I want to know, where did this image come from? Who had created it? Despite it gaining lots of attention as of recently, the image is pretty old. This image was first posted onto a digital art website known as CG Society back on December 27th, 2014. It was uploaded by a user who goes by Onerd3D, who had titled the image Cartoon Caterpillar. The image had only gained 2 comments in the 8 years it was up on the website, so it didn't gain any attention at all for a long time. I had managed to find a page of Owner's other artworks he had done. Here's a whole page showing a bunch of different characters and designs, and yeah, it's super interesting to look through. In 2021 is when this image would go from some completely obscure unknown image to a widely known meme. Through the "this pic goes so hard, feel free to screenshot" trend that blew up. Yeah, I don't know, I just think it's really cool that this image went from some small obscure artwork for almost a decade to pretty much everyone knowing of its existence. That's just really funny and amazing to me. I wonder what owner, the original creator of the image, thinks of it blowing up. this is the final image in this video we discuss. And similar to the last entry is an image which increased in popularity for going hard. A lot of YouTubers have looked at the origins of cursed images, liminal spaces. What about finding the origins of images that go hard? I better see some videos like that in the future. Maybe I'll make a video like that, who knows. The image is often referred to as hot tub broccoli or gangster broccoli. It's an image that is fairly well known and you have probably seen before. I myself have seen it everywhere, and in the back of my mind I have always wondered what this image's origins are. So, where did it come from? This image originates back in May of 2010. It was an advertisement created by the oral hygiene company Colgate, which is honestly surprising. When you think of Colgate ads, you think of this type of stuff, not this image. So yeah, the hot tub broccoli was part of a series of print floss advertisements featuring the tagline, "There are places a toothpick will never reach." The ads would show off 3D rendered fruits and vegetables chilling in all kinds of vacation spots. The ads are pretty much meant to show how food particles hide and chill in your teeth. And yeah, that is where this famous image comes from. In 2021, the image would pick up in popularity. It would start spreading around the internet like crazy as a hard image, and yeah, people love this image. It's one of those images I will every now and then still come across, and has definitely made its mark on the internet. Apparently in 2023, the image had even become a popular reaction image in Indonesia, as a way to tell people to relax and chill out, which is pretty funny. So yeah, if you were wondering where this image had come from, now you know. Thank you guys for watching this video. I teased this video a long time ago, so sorry I kept you guys waiting. It took a bit longer to finish than I thought it would, but yeah, hope you enjoyed it. There were a lot more images I wanted to discuss in this video, but I just wasn't able to find the origins of them at all. Maybe next time though. Maybe next time I'll be able to find their original source and discuss them next time I do a video like this. But yeah, again, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.